are your opinions on quote-unquote gambling progression systems on a game that will be brought to minors for hundreds of thousands of parents for Christmas? So gambling in general is like it's a very interesting debate, and I don't think, at least I don't have 18, man. Can you get to 20? Man, it's so easy to dodge missiles.
It really is. The missiles are bad.
20!
20, all right.
But the gambling thing is an interesting question. I think it's a discussion that we probably are not qualified to completely answer because
I'll answer.
I mean, those are just things that are regulated. Like,
put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Then go ahead. What do you feel about it?
I don't think it's appropriate. I do think that like Star Wars is a children's franchise. And I think loot box progression has yet to really be like pegged as. And you know what? I'm surprising that more like mainstream media outlets aren't taking this narrative and running with it, because it's a very easy gripe to have with video games. It's like you can gamble in it and spend a bunch of money and get nothing. I think loot box progression is bad outside of the gambling argument, period. I think the inability to control the outcome of the loot you're getting or the progress you're making is strictly a way to lengthen that progression system, which, you know, is okay in some contexts. Like,
do you consider Overwatch loot box progression?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm just trying to determine whether cosmetics is part of that.
Cosmetics is part of it.
Okay.
And, you know, Overwatch is not, as much as they are a paragon of loot boxes. Like, I don't like the Falcon. Everybody just shoots you when you're in the Falcon.
You're a very large target.
You just can't shake anybody.
So I don't disagree with anything you've said. My opinion, though, is that it is, like, I'm really nervous that the community outcry here is going to push some sort of government entity to straight up ban loot boxes from video games.
Great. See ya.
And I'm not okay. Like, I'm not as okay with that. I think that
I just don't care.
I don't like the idea of developers having less tools in their toolbox. But on top of that, I think that they should be regulated in a certain way. But I think that loot boxes can be done well in games.
Woo!
Like, I don't think that there is a no-win scenario with that.
Show me a great example of loot box.
Well, obviously things like, and that's the thing is, I don't have one offhand because I think it is hard.
They don't exist.
But what I will say is, clearly, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is not a good example of it, right? Like, I'm not arguing that like this is somehow exempt from this, right? But I think that there is a way where they can work, and I don't think that, like, I think that the regulation and they should be gone, they're evil, are two different things. I'm in favor of exploring regulation. I'm not in favor of
getting rid of all
blind
loot boxes,
rage towards loot boxes.
Well, okay,
because I think there are times where I think they are fun to have.
Yeah, it's cool to open like an MTG booster pack, and that is essentially a loot box.
Exactly.
It's cool to kill a boss and get a drop that is randomized, because that's essentially a loot box.
Yeah.
But again, the means to that end, I think loot box carries with it a connotation of being able to pay real money to circumvent the natural progression.
And I'm not okay with.
Getting taken too far.
Yes.
So let's go back to Overwatch. So Overwatch is a paragon of loot boxes. It's all aesthetic, right? Nothing is mechanically effective. No crashes, Yoda.
Yoda is
He's
quick,
nimble.
man.
Yeah. Of course, we all remember that awesome scene where Yoda is in his starfighter just mercilessly slaughtering the droids. You can play out that fantasy in this.
That iconic Star Wars moment.
Oh, that iconic moment when Yoda gets right behind Boba Fett and finally kills Jango and his son in a ship in a big fiery death. Oh! Let's get a little bit of distance. Oh, I got him. Oh, no, wait. Different guy. Where are you?
You gotta keep going after Boba?
Yeah, if I see him. Let me know.
I think it's so funny how cheap the hero ships are in Starfighter.
They are.
They're much cheaper than the hero characters.
But Overwatch is not exempt from shady business garbage.
No,
as an example, I wrote an article way back when, in the first year of Overwatch, called How Blizzard Invalidated Its Own Currency. And this was when the summer loot boxes came out, which were, as we all know now, event loot boxes that are limited time only, and you only have a limited window to get those skins. And at that point, we didn't know if we would be seeing another Summer Games. I think the assumption there was it was tied to the Olympics, so if they did come back, it would be in 4 years. So there was a lot of demand for those skins. There were some really cool skins. Is it Nihon Genji.
Nihon Genji, yeah.
The
Japan Genji one.
The McCree with the American flag draped over him, like all this cool stuff. And you couldn't craft those with gold. And gold is the currency you get when you get a duplicate, or sometimes you just get it. So it's like the equivalent of what is it called? It's credits. Yeah. But anyway, you weren't able to craft those with gold. So that was Overwatch's loot box progression at its worst, which was you had, if you wanted something, you had at some point to spend money in an attempt to get it. And I remember sitting there having spent $60 for a video for IGN, which I probably expensed. And then I just wanted that McCree skin, and there was no way for me to get it.
Yeah.
I had completed all of like the dailies or whatever. I had been playing forever. I didn't really want to play anymore. I just wanted that skin. So I spent another $20 and still didn't get it.
This is a close match.
This is. What is my team doing? Blame your team. Let's go back to the basics. Basics of the James Duggan's Guide to Being Good at Video Games. So yeah, so I don't think like let's look at Overwatch and be like, oh, they're so great and loot boxes are fine in Overwatch. I think there are still problems with loot boxes.
To be fair though, they did. Oh my God, 0-0.
Who knows? Yeah. Of
What?
course.
Ah, come on.
Hey, when you play Battlefront 2, you lose every time. This little secret. Just kidding. I'm joking.
To Overwatch's credit and to Blizzard's credit with that game and that controversy, they did recognize it. And they did change it from every event going forward.
Sure.
So now you can buy them with gold. I don't disagree with the fundamental of anything you're saying. It's just they did. That is a situation where a company very much recognized what their community was saying and responded accordingly, which is nice.
I also think there are some things that are tied to achievements in Overwatch, and that's some of my favorite content, like the cute sprays for getting a pentakill or hexakill with someone's ultimate. Are really fun. That's a cool way to tell a story. Again, the progression should be about telling a story. It should make you feel cool, both in terms of the gameplay and in terms of how you acquired it. And I think that is the second part especially is something that we have lost sight of entirely in terms of progression.